Here's our first racer, Heinrich, and he's got a car in a fairly standard model with both the rear wing and the front as well. Next up, we have Luz coming in what is a smaller car than is typical, but still said to be very speedy and fast. Next up, we have Chet, who's in more of a roadster style car. An unusual choice for these circuits, but perhaps it will pay off. And the last racer for today is Richard, known for his reckless driving and ability to go fast at the same time, and his uncaring attitude. This is 5NTA, and we're here with the pit crew, and you can see I'm going to be doing some on-the-scene reporting, but before the race starts, I'm going to go through the track with you for the, today we're at Mod's Pizza 3. That's right, 3 laps around Mod's Pizza track, brought to you obviously by Mod's Pizza. So let's go and see how the track. So all the racers will start on the start-finish line, and they'll progress. There's a small straightaway before they go into what is known as the straight curve, mainly because there's a series of curves that all more or less form a straight line, often brutal on the tires. It's not the most easy terrain to navigate. Then we have another straightaway before we come to what's termed corner 1, where we go around in another curvy way, and then we have the main back straightaway going here, and then that falls into the second back straightaway, which is shortly thereafter followed by the pit stop, because after this straightaways you might want to be making some adjustments as you go into the hairpin turns. So we have one hairpin turn followed by a brief straightaway followed by yet another hairpin turn, and then going on we have one more straightaway followed by a last hairpin turn into the start finish line. So that's what you have to look forward to. 3 laps of that. Each lap a racer will have a light up at the end of their on their car to indicate that they've completed the next lap. Welcome to the race, folks. I'm Ben, and I'll be your announcer for today. And we have, coming off the blocks, about to start the race. We'll see who comes in first. And all right, here we go. Chet off on the hot break, and you'll also notice my rotating commentary box so I can keep up with all the action. And oh, but Chet comes out too fast, blows a tire. That'll keep him slower. In the meantime, we have Luz, and also followed by Richard. Meanwhile, it is Heinrich who's being boxed out from being able to pass. He's got the speed, but there's no room on the motorway going through the straight curves, as it's called. All right, we see here surging ahead is Heinrich coming all the way through, getting past those other racers who were blocking him. Luz lagging a bit in the speed. Meanwhile, Richard also keeping up the pace. And it looks like Chet is almost back in his car. Oh, and we see, as he rounds the corner, that's Heinrich actually coming off. Apparently he was going a bit too fast. Meanwhile, we see here that we have Luz still powering along slowly. Chet apparently still needs more to fix on his car. And we can see here that it is in fact Richard living up to his reputation as a speed demon, flying forward through the first turn. Chet really struggling down there. He's got his car all flipped over. If only he could have the pit crew come by and help him, but they're stuck in the pit row. We see here that it looks like Heinrich is back on the road, about ready to get going. Luz is catching up Richard. Richard has lost some of that lead he got coming out of the first corner, had to slow down significantly in that first corner, getting ready to go onto the second back straightaway. Chet finally back on the road and underway. Also, Heinrich is catching up to the leaders. Luz and Richard are neck and neck going into the second back straightaway. Continuing in the lead, it's Heinrich. Actually, I should say Richard in the lead, Luz just behind. Heinrich, meanwhile, has been caught up to by Chet, as they're also both relatively close to the leaders on the second back straightaway, the trailing pack on the first back straightaway. 5 NTA here with an update. Luz has stopped in the pits and is changing a tire. Looks like this might slow him down quite a bit, folks. Thank you for that. Update 5 NTA. We'll keep an eye out. Heinrich pulling away from Chet into the second back straightaway. Meanwhile, Luz had zoomed ahead, but as was just informed by 5 NTA, he's taking a pit stop, and it looks like Richard is just about to pass the pits. We'll see if he takes a stop as well. Oh, exciting stuff here. Chet bursting past Heinrich to go into third position. Meanwhile, Richard carefully navigating the pits, while Luz still gets work on his car, but it looks like he's almost ready to get back out there. And they've all really slowed down coming around the pit lane and into the first hairpin turn. It's Heinrich who's actually passed Chet again on the second back straightaway, and Luz is trailing Richard but closely as they go through the first hairpin. An interesting choice there. You would have thought Chet would have stopped in the pits, but he goes past. Meanwhile, Richard has surged ahead, and also Heinrich has surged back past Luz into second position as they go through the hairpin turns. Oh, a bit of a collision there coming through the hairpin turns between Luz and Heinrich, and that allows Chet to blow past them. What a turn of events. Meanwhile, Richard has crossed the first finish line, and you may note, if you look closely, that he also one of his lights has lit up on the back of his car, indicating that he's completed one lap. He's in the lead. Chet, surprisingly, given his massive problems at the beginning, is in second. And we currently have technically Heinrich in third and Luz in fourth, though they're both quite close. And we see here that Heinrich still struggling after that collision, unable to get back on the road. Meanwhile, Luz has surged past Chet, who took it slow through that second hairpin turn, and Richard is extending his lead as he goes into the long straight curves. We have Luz completing his first lap as well. You might notice his extra light has come on to indicate that. Meanwhile, Chet is nearly finished with his first lap right before the finish line, about to cross it. Heinrich back on the road. Richard still staying ahead as he goes through the long straight curve. Things are getting stretched out here as we have Heinrich still trailing far behind. Chet, meanwhile, is moving a bit. His light also will be coming on as he has made his first lap. Also, Luz and Richard still evenly spaced as they go through the long straight curve. Oh my, folks, it's almost impossible to know where to turn. Heinrich's still trying to catch up. Meanwhile, Chet is really bad at driving the long straightaway. His wheels have come off. And we still have Luz and Richard breaking away into what appears to be a commanding lead on this second of 3 laps of the Mod Pizza 3. And we see here that Richard is still in the lead, extending his lead, as Luz is also in the lead. Chet, surprisingly, was able to snap those wheels back on in record time and catch back up to the leaders. Heinrich, meanwhile, has barely just crossed the line to start his second lap. Richard still surging ahead after going down the first back straightaway and the second back straightaway. Luz, the gap opening wider between Richard and Luz. Chet still trying to catch up. Meanwhile, if we see what's happened to poor Heinrich, he's also lost a tire on the long curve straightaway. As we said, it's the roughest part of the track, and it seems to have been giving at least 2 of our drivers quite a bit of trouble today. We have Richard still in the lead, pulling away from the others. In fact, Chet has overtaken Luz in the first back straightaway. Meanwhile, we see here that Heinrich is still trying to repair that tire. 5 NTA reporting here again from the pits. And it looks like Luz is making another pit stop, but this time the pit crew is ready, and it looks like he's going to be out here in record time, and he's about off already. All right, we see that indeed, Luz has almost caught up to Richard. It was a very quick pit stop. Chet falling behind. Richard still in the lead, and it appears, am I seeing this right? Is Heinrich pushing his car down the track? It looks like he's got the tire back on at least. Let's see if he's just getting a little jump start there. All right, things are getting busy here. Heinrich finally got himself through this long straight curve. Chet still falling behind. Meanwhile, Richard and Luz making quick work of the hairpin turns. We have Richard still in the lead, and he's just started his third and final lap of Mod's Pizza 3. And closely trailing him is Luz. Chet only just past the pit stops and entering the hairpin turns. Meanwhile, Heinrich is still barely moving forward over there, going through the first turn. And we have Chet making quick work of the hairpin turns. He's catching up. Meanwhile, Luz is barely behind Richard, also having just started his third lap, having completed the second one. Heinrich is on the first back straightaway. Richard and Luz duking it out, driving slowly, trying to block each other from passing as Luz tries to find a way around. Chet still going through the final hairpin turn. Meanwhile, Heinrich is about to enter the second back straightaway. It's very close going into the third lap. And we have Richard getting passed by Luz, in fact, on the long straight curve. He's found a way through. Meanwhile, if we look over, Chet is still trying to get through that last hairpin turn. It's a real struggle, it appears, and it looks like Heinrich's almost made it to the pit stops, almost going into the hairpin turns. He might be able to catch up Chet. Remember, folks, there's points to play for here on the circuit, and even if they don't win today, a third or second place finish will put them at an advantage. Things are getting good here, folks. That's right, Richard has just passed Luz in the first corner again. It's neck and neck, going back and forth. Meanwhile, Chet has finally crossed the line and is now on his third lap officially, while Heinrich still makes his way through the hairpin turns. Oh my goodness, folks, it's another great move by Luz to pass him in the first back straightaway. Meanwhile, we see Chet is just coming through the long straight curve. It looks like he might not actually have any troubles this time for once in the race. Meanwhile, Heinrich is still trailing, only just now about to start his third lap. It would take a miracle for him to come back at this point. What a development, folks. Luz has just blown past the second back straightaway, but he's now pulled into the pits. We'll go to 5 NTA briefly to get an update on that. Meanwhile, Richard is really slowed down after going through that first corner. Chet's almost caught up to him. Meanwhile, we see here that Heinrich's only just started the third lap. Thanks for throwing it down here, Ben. This is 5 NTA from the pit, and as you said, Luz sped through that straightaway so fast that the pit crew wasn't even ready for him to get here. It looks like they're going to have to take a little extra time on this one. You would have thought they would have expected it given that Luz has pitted in now all 3 of the laps, but we'll see how this goes. An extraordinary development here, Ben. I'm 5 NTA, and, well, the pit stop for Luz has become quite complicated, as you can see behind me. Meanwhile, we have Richard, who's stopped in for a pit stop, and his seems to be like it's about to go quite quickly. He's almost back out on the road already.
You said it, 5 NTA. Extraordinary developments here. Heinrich still barely getting into the long straight curve. Meanwhile, Richard, with his very quick pit stop, is back on the road through the first hairpin turn. Luz's car is still being worked on. Meanwhile, Chet has almost gotten caught up to the leaders.
5 NTA here. More incredible action in pit road. Well, really, that came in from behind pit road. Richard has gone so fast around the hairpin turn, he's actually crashed back into the pit road, and more specifically, me.
Shocking developments indeed, 5 NTA. Meanwhile, Luz has still barely gotten out of the pits, and Chet has passed them. What will happen? Can anyone win this race? It could be Chet coming back after all the struggles on the first lap. Meanwhile, Heinrich's still barely moving. His car seems to be in real trouble. Oh my goodness, it's pure madness down there. Luz and Chet run into each other going through the first hairpin turn. Meanwhile, Richard's still getting work done on his vehicle. What is happening?
And as the dust settles, it looks like Richard is finally about to get back on the road. Meanwhile, Chet's still also trying to regain the road, and Luz seems like he's speeding away toward the finish line for first place. Heinrich, meanwhile, has half a chance to catch back up. He's on the first back straightaway. Depending on all this chaos, he might have a chance to not come in last. And here they are coming through the last hairpin turn. It is Luz handing on to the lead, and he will get the first place with the attendant 100 points. Meanwhile, it's Richard and Chet right down to the wire as they come through the last hairpin turn. Meanwhile, Heinrich only now entering the second back straightaway. As the other racers cross the line, it's
Richard coming in second, as one would have expected. Chet, despite the valiant comeback from the first lap, will indeed be in third. And we have Heinrich still trying to catch up, just now entering the hairpin turns. What a great showing. And as the other racers clear the track, it's just Heinrich almost to the finish now. And there you have it, an official finish as he crosses the line in fourth. So he will get the least points, but he will get points for finishing. That's 25 points. Heinrich, Chet with 50 points. Richard with 75. And Luz, your race winner for the Mods Pizza 3 with 100 points going toward the circuit. Join us again next time for more exciting race of the racing circuit.